What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're talking about the Summer Cup. The Summer Cup's a new format introduced in Season 11 of Go Battle League, and it's a format in which it's the Great League, so 1500 CP and under, and you're only allowed Fire, Water, Grass, Bug, Electric, and Normal type Pokemon. Dual typings are allowed, so you can get other typings in there as long as they share one of those 6 typings. And with any new set of restrictions comes a new meta, new best picks, new worst picks, and all the tactics in between. So this team I've brought together for you guys today is a very strong team using some more unusual Pokemon that I haven't seen that much of. I've been bouncing somewhere anywhere between 2750 and 2950 ELO rating with this team, which has generally consisted of me using a different, more spicy team, trying some other Pokemon out, dropping a couple of hundred ELO points, and then coming back to this team and climbing up back the couple of 100 points. So it is a strong team. It can consistently get a generally positive win streak going in that kind of range up towards Legend rank as you climb up through the expert ranking. So I would recommend this team if you do have access to these Pokemon in particular. Quick shout out to you absolute legends that are subscribed to the channel and that like and share the content. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, and I know uploads have been a bit slow and sporadic as of late, but the support from you guys really does mean the world. So thank you, I do appreciate it, and let's take a look at today's team. So on the lead for this team, we've got Oranguru, which is a very interesting normal and psychic type Pokemon. That means it resists ghost type damage, which is very unique for a Confusion user. The Confusion absolutely chunks away. It has Foul Play for some great neutral coverage on pretty much everything in this meta. The Future Sight hits like an absolute truck, so it's a very strong pick in this meta and generally quite safe in a lot of matchups. It can put some strong work in. On the safe swap on this team, we've got Zapdos, and this is a shiny Zapdos that is Legacy with Thundershock, and it is below 1500 CP because it's from research from way back when the special research breakthroughs at the end of every week did give you legendary Pokemon. It was the only way to get a Zapdos small enough to compete in the Great League. So this is a very exclusive pick to have in the Great League. I'm very lucky to have got this traded to me, and it's got reasonable IVs for PvP. If you guys do not have a Zapdos to use in the Great League, which I know a lot of you won't, then you can use Emolga in its place. It does have the same typing, has the same coverage with Aerial Ace, Thunderbolt and Discharge. It's just not quite as threatening in terms of how hard it can hit, but it is a strong pick all the same. And then in the back, we've got Cradily. Cradily being grass and rock, meaning that it can kind of go toe-to-toe with a lot of Pokemon present in this meta. It has access to Stone Edge, which means it can one-shot almost any bug type in this meta. The grass not threatening for the water types, and overall gives it great coverage and some nice versatility. You just got to keep it away from those counter users. When I was first chucking a team together for Zapdos and Cradily, I actually led Diggersby instead of Oranguru, and then I realised how many people are bringing counter users to this cup in general, so to be weak to counter on the lead and in the back was absolutely devastating in too many matchups. So we decided to go for Oranguru for that nice neutral coverage, but keeping Cradily in the back because I just love Cradily's coverage in this meta in general. The biggest core breaker lead for this team, I would say, is Obstagoon, because it's going to be immune to that psychic damage from Oranguru, as well as putting out super effective counter damage against Cradily. But fortunately, I haven't seen that many Obstagoons being run even since the community day this weekend, which I hope you guys had great success with. I did. I got some great PvP IVs for Obstagoon lined up, got plenty of shinies. But let's take a look at some actual combat with this team and see how it plays out. The first match I'm going to show you guys is actually an Oranguru mirror match, which is a pretty, like I said, it's a mirror match of course, so it's what you'd expect. The main advantage to having this is actually to have a higher attack stat, because the main damage output you're going to have on each other is from these foul plays, because they are going to hit for super effective damage, and a decent chunk of that, as you can see. It doesn't one shot, so you can afford to let one go through, and we're just going to hope to win CMP tie here and take them out. If not, we'll probably just come in with either Zapdos or Cradily and farm down entirely for a boatload of energy. But we do get to throw the second foul play first. They choose not to shield, and we're going to swap straight out into Zapdos to prevent the opponent from getting ahead on energy. You don't have to make this decision, it's completely down to you, but letting Zapdos get too far behind on energy can be really detrimental in quite a few matchups. So we like to get it straight in there and see if we can bait anything out that Oranguru might still be able to put some work in with those confusions, because that Wormadam there would probably be able to farm us down entirely. And even then, when its charge moves are resisted by something like Zapdos, it can still put some good work in because Zapdos is pretty squishy. They do choose to stay in and we're able to put some major work in with these spammy Drill Pecks. We didn't have to go for a Thunderbolt and then Drill Pecks, we should have gone for 2 Drill Pecks, but I wasn't super familiar with how Zapdos's charge moves hit a Wormadam relative to its bulk. But live and learn. Turns out the opponent had a Jellicent in the back. There's not much they're going to be able to do against his Cradily. We can survive a Shadow Ball or an Ice Beam straight out. Anyway, so the opponent's going to surrender, that's going to be a GG. Matchup number 2 brings us a Kanto Ninetales on the lead. Kanto Ninetales able to put a lot of work in against pretty much anything in this meta that's not straight up a water type. Something like Swampert would obviously shut this thing down very well, but it does well against the bugs, does well against the grasses, and does good neutral in its neutral matchup. As you can see, the second Weather Ball will be very threatening to Orangura at this point, so we're going to have to start throwing moves, try and get a shield out of them, see what they choose to do. We do get the first shield, and we're probably going to shield this up, yeah, because we want this Ninetales to be lower, to be in farm down range, and if we're lucky, we want them to misjudge our energy, we get to a foul play, but they do catch, which is fantastic by the opponent. They do catch on a Tropius, which is nice and bulky to absorb that damage, but unfortunately for the opponent, Zapdos absolutely walls Tropius, and you wouldn't think that with it being a grass type, but the grass moves are resisted by Zapdos's flying typing, the flying moves are resisted by Zapdos's electric typing, and because Tropius isn't very attack weighted, you can survive one charge move fairly comfortably. Those Drill Pecks are going to be hitting them for super effective damage. We're going to choose to go for a very aggressive farm down, come out with almost 100 energy here, and we're just going to have to dump energy into whatever comes in. Ideally we can survive one fast move to get 2 charge moves off. It's the Ninetales, it's an Ember. Hopefully we survive this and get to throw a second Drill Peck. They choose to let it go through, so it doesn't matter, we've got another move to throw. And was that a Swampert that came in? Fingers crossed it is, because Cradily is going to be rubbing his hands together. It is a Swampert. Not much his opponent can do. At this point we can survive an Earthquake. We do go down to 2 Hydro Cannons, I think, because Cradily isn't quite bulky enough, is it? No. It's just a Shadow. From a Shadow Swampert you can't take 2 Hydro Cannons, which makes the matchup a little bit scarier for Cradily. But overall, it's still a dominant matchup in general because you can one-shot them, whereas they still two-shot you. GG's all the same, and in matchup 3, we've got a Noctowl lead. Noctowl can be kind of difficult to deal with for certain teams. It does have pretty good coverage with that Sky Attack and Shadow Ball as its charge moves. We don't have to worry about a Shadow Ball nuke, at least, because we do resist the Ghost moves. So we just got to worry about Sky Attacks coming through, although it is still a pretty good move, and we will have to shield a second one if they do get that far. We choose to build up quite a bit of energy here before we throw the Future Sight, and we're hoping they choose to let it go because it will annihilate them if they do, but they do shield it up. This is fine. We might shield this up to put more work in, we do. This is questionable because now that we've thrown a Future Sight and not a foul play, we're going to be a little bit slow to get to the next one. The opponent chooses to aggressively bring in a Vigoroth and we choose to throw a foul play. Gets it down to below half health, which is fine, because now we can bring in Zapdos, and Zapdos is your best answer in general to either Vigoroth, Obstagoon, the general normal type counter users, because the Drill Pecks are very spammy. You can survive one Night Slash, you can survive one Body Slam, there's not much pressure from it there. They're not at that big of a risk of being counted down, unless an Obstagoon gets the boost, but if Obstagoon gets the boost, you might as well just give up the game there. We choose to bring in Zapdos, we give up a shield and take them out. We've got quite a lot of energy here and we can threaten this Blaziken that's in the back. And if you've noticed, this entire team is weak to Zapdos. You got 2 fighters and you had a flyer in the front. But unfortunately Zapdos is a little bit squishy, he's going to get punched down by this Blaziken. And although Cradyline's got some reasonable bulk, this is going to be devastating. It's a Stone Edge, hits hard enough, the damage is done. We can take out the Blaziken with a Stone Edge, but they choose to bring in the Noctowl, force our hand. We have to throw to take this out, and we're not going to be able to get enough energy to finish off the Blaziken, so that's going to be a good game to the opponent there. Really, we should have brought in Zapdos as soon as the opponent brought in the Vigoroth, because you can slightly outpace them. It is 5 and 4 Thunder Shocks to get to a Drill Peck, whereas they need 5 counters every time to get to a Body Slam, so you can gradually force your way through that matchup if you're willing to commit shields in. This matchup, we actually get a Lurantis lead. Lurantis, very nice and spicy. We have to get Orangura out of there because it's weak to the bug type moves thanks to its psychic typing. So we know that both Cradily and Zapdos will have better matchups. So we figure we might as well bring Zapdos in, see what the opponent chooses to do. And they are going to stay in for a little while, which is quite interesting. It means they might be weak to Zapdos in the back. So if they choose to throw another charge move, we probably will shield. At this point, very happy we've got both shields out of this opponent because that makes this Lurantis a lot more vulnerable than it was just a few seconds before. We're probably going to commit the second shield because, like I said, them staying it. Nope, we're going to let it go. Okay, that's a big call. Can we make it to this Drill Peck? We don't. We try and get a Thunderbolt, even though Drill Peck's the better move to throw. Zapdos gets taken down with a boatload of energy, which is really unfortunate for us. We're going to bring in Cradily, shield up the Hydro Cannon because it does hit pretty hard from a Shadow Swamp all the same. We're going to throw this Leaf Blade. We're expecting Lurantis to come back in, but we should survive long enough to get to a Stone Edge to take them out, or we can swap to Oranguru and we should be able to one-shot them there with a Future Sight if needs be. We should be able to survive long enough there as well to get to that move. They come in, you see the Fury Cutters are chipping away pretty quick. The Superpower is going to hit pretty hard, but we are going to get to this Stone Edge and hopefully Oranguru can handle whatever's in the back. Shields down, it generally does quite well because that Future Sight is going to absolutely annihilate a lot of different Pokemon. They've got Warren in the back, and this is a kind of matchup that with shields tends to go in Warren's favour, but like we said, all shields are down, they throw Earthquake, hits us pretty hard for sure, but this Future Sight is going to hit hard back as well, and this Warren needs energy to not get taken out by our Cradily afterwards. They can't get the energy they need, we take them down, we take the win. GG. The opponent in that matchup should definitely have met our Zapdos with Warren because those Powder Snows really do add up. Yes, we're an electric type, but our Thunderbolt is a lot slower than their Icicle Spear, and we cannot survive even one Icicle Spear with Zapdos because we're too squishy. Matchup number 5, Tropius lead. We don't really mind Tropius wherever it is on an opponent's team. Zapdos is our best answer to it in general, but Cradily can do monstrous damage with a Stone Edge, Zapdos can take out with Drill Peck, and Oranguru can just go toe-to-toe in general. This opponent's going to swap in an Azumarill, we're going to meet them with Cradily. We don't really mind what charge move they throw. Even if they throw a Hydro Pump, we can survive it fairly comfortably. We might choose to shield though. No, we're going to let it go. It is a Hydro Pump. As you can see, it does like 60% of our health, which isn't really all that threatening. We throw an extra Bullet Seed just in case they were going for an Ice Beam and making sure we just get the maximum energy out of this matchup that we can. Make it easier to get to that Stone Edge if the Tropius does come back in, which it does, but they're going to throw straight away. That's fine with us. We don't mind letting Cradily go down. We're going to bring in Oranguru at this point, and the main reason we bring that in and not Zapdos is because we figured with them swapping out of the Tropius lead, they might have had a stronger answer to Oranguru in the back, but it turns out they don't. They have a lower Marowak, which is very vulnerable to these dark type foul plays, and we also resist their ghost charge moves, but we are pretty low at this point, so that's kind of a moot point. We realise we're at risk of getting fire spinned down, so we bring in Zapdos straight away to start putting some work in, and actually in this position we can probably shield up again from this lower Marowak, completely Thunder Shock down and just throw 2 Drill Pecks at the Tropius and just take it out from there. We do get the Thunder Shock down, and it doesn't even matter if this Tropius has energy. We can survive a Leaf Blade, we can survive an Aerial Ace. There's not much they can do. This Drill Peck's going to get the shield, the second one is definitely going to take them out. Tropius is bulky, but a Zapdos is attack weighted, and this Drill Peck is stab. It's going to hit hard, boom. Tropius is gone, and we're going to take the win. GG. The main thing I like about this team is that it takes a lot of the rock, paper, scissors-y vibe out of this meta because Oranguru and Zapdos are so versatile. Cradily can hang with anything really that's not a counter user. Everything else, it has options in general to really put some work in and threaten and get shields. Even against something like Swampert, Zapdos can put good work in with the spammy Drill Pecks, so I do really enjoy this team so far. Alright, just a few more matchups to show you guys, including an Obstagoon lead and how we're able to flip that around and still take a win. But first of all, we've got a Stunfisk lead. Now, I class this as a positive lead for this team because honestly, you want to keep this thing away from Zapdos. It resists all the charge moves. It can put solid neutral work in back with those discharges, and it's got pretty good bulk, whereas Zapdos can probably survive 1 discharge, but definitely cannot take 2. So happy to see it against Oranguru, and we're just going to stay in this matchup. And we're expecting them to actually have a counter to grass types in the back because Stunfisk is notoriously stopped in its tracks by grass types. The opponent chooses to catch a foul play on Escavalier, and you're going to see that we're able to get to this Drill Peck before the Escavalier even gets to a move, and they're going to be taken straight out by that. Plus the foul play damage, of course. If they didn't catch that move and we hadn't thrown it at them, they might have needed 2 Drill Pecks, or maybe just a Thunderbolt and a bunch of Thunder Shocks to get them down. But it's very nice to not have to give up a shield or get Zapdos particularly low, because that means now this Stunfisk can't get ahead too much on energy in this situation because these drill pegs are going to add up. And you can see we take one discharge fairly comfortably. We were, you know, it does about 50% of our health total, but they're going to really struggle to farm us down at this point without throwing another move. We're able to CMP tie. We're going to shield and go for another move here. I don't know if we'll be able to get it off. We decided to swap to Cradily. The opponent's got a Lurantis in the back, so it's a little unfortunate that we've got Cradily against this thing and not our Zapdos, but we're still going to have to put some work in here. We take a Leaf Blade. That's pretty comfortable for us. We weren't expecting a superpower since they just swapped in and wouldn't want to debuff themselves. But we are going to shield the second move because we've got so much energy at this point and we want to get the shield or do massive damage. We do get that shield, that's fantastic. And now we're going to go for another Stone Edge. We're going to make them throw, which they're going to. Not a problem at all. But our Zapdos should just be able to make it to a Drill Peck if we're lucky here. It's going to be close, going to be tight, but we're able to get it off. This is going to annihilate Lurantis, and hopefully the energy we've still got left on Aranguru is going to be enough to just finish off the Stunfisk. It's going to be close. This thing is energy dry, but we're going to get this foul play off. We're going to take them out and we're going to take the win. It's going to be a GG to this opponent. Alright, so let's talk about the absolute nightmare lead, and that's going to be Obstagoon because it's going to be resisting all the moves from Oranguru, your fast and your charge moves. It does super effective damage to Cradily, so really you're stuck in this matchup on the lead. We get a huge lag spike, which is not ideal, but it seems like all the fast moves catch up at once. It looks like they get their fast moves, we get ours, so not a big deal. We're just going to go for foul plays though and start chipping this thing down because foul play is single resisted, but the future side to be double resisted, so we might as well just be throwing that for what minimal damage we can get. Night Slash hits us pretty hard. If they throw another one, they will take us out here, and we're just going to let it go. The Oranguru will go entirely, bring in Zapdos, see what the opponent chooses to do, and see whether or not we can handle this team in the back. Now, they have still got some excess energy from that matchup, so they are going to get to a Night Slash before we get to our Drill Peck, which is a little bit unfortunate, so we're going to build up some extra energy here, just to make sure that if they do let Obstagoon go down, that we've got a bit of an energy lead against whatever follows it in. We do get a shield, so we're going to go for the back-to-back for the next Drill Peck straight away, so give us 2 shields. I'll get that Obstagoon out of here. They choose to double shield. This is our win condition essentially now, because we've got shields down. Cradily can do monstrous damage to a lot of Pokemon in the meta with those charge moves. Stone Edge can hit flyers like an absolute truck, it hits bugs like an absolute truck. The Grass Knot's great against the waters. Zapdos is a little low to put much more work in, so we're going to swap straight out to Cradily. It's a good thing we do, because just a Volt Switch from Galvantula's neutral to Zapdos and would hit pretty hard. So we choose to shield up, shield up the first move, because Lunge, I believe, is super effective and would hit pretty hard. Go for the Stone Edge. We are debuffed once in attack. How hard is this going to hit? Boom! Wipes it out. What's in the back? It's a Lantern. We're going to be able to get these Grass Knots off, which might need 3 or at least 2 and some fast moves depending. Nope, it gets below 50. The second Grass Knot's going to be enough, and we can survive a Hydro Pump from this range. It's not going to be enough to take us out. They're going to try, see, it gets us in the red, but this move is going to be enough to take them out. We're still going to be able to take the win just because his opponent's team isn't ready to deal with anything that gets past the Obstagoon, anything like Cradily getting past there, so that's going to be a GG. So if you see an Obstagoon on the lead, don't necessarily quit out, try. See what they've got in the back, because you'd be surprised how much work Cradily and Zapdos can put in. Obviously, if they get the boost, you're in a much worse position, and I probably would quit if the Obstagoon got the boost while taking out Oranguru, but like I said, it's worth fighting for, because you're going to get the loss either way. If you quit, you get a loss. But if you stay in and fight, there's a chance you can bring it back, and it's always worth fighting for that, especially if you're climbing up towards those higher ranks like Expert and Legend rank. This matchup, Lapras lead, we don't really want to swap out because the ice moves are going to be hitting Zapdos pretty hard, and they are going to be chipping away at Cradily fairly well, so we don't mind staying in with Oranguru in that situation. We overcharge a little bit here against this Ariados that swaps in aggressively, which is a little unfortunate because that means they're going to be able to get a shield out of us with Cross Poison because we don't want to lose all that energy. So we're going to throw a charge move, get them pretty low, and then we're going to swap to Cradily when this thing is in roughly farm down range. We've got no shields left. We know we can take at least one move from this thing. It's Cross Poison, so it's going to be neutral. If it threw Lunge, it is super effective, but it wouldn't take us out. We realise it's a little bit too far out of farm down range, so we got a throw. We get a shield. That's very, very nice. This does imply the opponent might be quite weak to Cradily in the back, so it might be unfortunate that we've spent it here, but we don't mind. The Lunge is still not going to be enough. they're going to swap out aggressively back the other way and hope to snipe us down. It's not quite fast enough because we get the Grass Knot. It's going to be able to take out the Lapras. Boom, that's fantastic. Glad to see it's dealt with. The Ariados comes back in to get a bit of energy, and we're going to come in with Zapdos, Thunder Shot down before they get a chance to throw anything. And Zapdos with shields down and an energy advantage is incredibly scary to pretty much everything in this cup. You see a Drill Peck does not quite half, so we're going to try and catch a move on Oranguru. We don't get the catch, so we decide to go to stay in, go for the foul play and take them out. The opponent really was gambling, I think, on building up to 2 Shadow Bones to throw back to back against the Zapdos. I believe they must have thought that was their only win condition, and they didn't realise that we had the energy for a foul play, so that's going to be a good game there. Last matchup now to show you guys, and it's a Vigoroth lead. Now if I find a Vigoroth lead, I tend to stay in with Oranguru just because you don't want it lined up with Cradily. Obviously Zapdos is our best answer, and this opponent's actually going to swap in a Crustle aggressively, and we're going to stay in for a little bit because we don't have a brilliant answer to Crustle. Zapdos definitely doesn't want to see this thing. Those rock throws are going to do devastating amounts of damage, and Cradily can kind of go toe to toe, but we're going to choose to stay in here. And because we snuck that confusion through when they threw their first charge move, it means that we can force switch advantage in this situation quite comfortably. In fact, we're going to be able to confusion down entirely, come out with a monstrous amount of energy. The Vigoroth comes back in, we're going to throw the Future Sight probably, or at least that's what maybe could go for double foul play. Depends. It is the Vigoroth, we're going to go for the double foul play. That seems reasonable. We're guaranteed to get some damage through rather than them potentially just shielding up. The Future Sight, they let it go, so Future Sight would have been a good call, but either way we can throw the second move, get another chip of damage, we get the Vigoroth pretty low. They swap out aggressively to get ahead of energy on Pidgeot. So, we got Pidgeot and Vigoroth, we've got a Zapdos in the back. Problem is we're down a shield. So we're going to bring in Cradily, go straight for this Stone Edge, either force a shield or take them out. We get the shield, that's fantastic. We're not expecting them to throw Brave Bird because they swapped in aggressively, and debuffing this Pidgeot will put them in an iffy position at the end. But they do, which is a great call by them, but it means that we as Zapdos are in a very strong position to line ourselves up, but we have to be patient. We take this move, doesn't matter, it's a Feather Dance, that's fine. We have to have energy to throw straight away at the Vigoroth. We have to have both a Thunderbolt and a Drill Peck loaded. Throw the Drill Peck, it's enough to take out Pidgeot, and we've got the Thunderbolt, ready to go. It's going to annihilate Vigoroth because I believe this thing swapped out with energy. And Vigoroth wins CMP tie against a lot of picks, which is probably why the opponent chose to do it. But I bet they weren't expecting me to have a Zapdos in the back, which has got higher attack stat than most things present in the Summer Cup. But that's going to be it for this team in general. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them down below. I'll try and get back to you if I can. If you don't have a Zapdos, remember you can use Emolga for very similar coverage. It might just not be as attack weighted to threaten things quite as heavily. Drill Peck is a better move than Aerial Ace after all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch all of you absolute legends next time.